Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to travel to India on the 4th of December for a high-stakes bilateral summit with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, at the heart of the visit is a newly finalized agreement on the mobility of skilled and semi-skilled workers. Indian Ministry of External Affairs officials said that the document has been finalized and is even going through internal process before being signed. Economic cooperation will also be key focus in this summit. Bilateral trade at a time when has crossed $65 billion and is largely driven by India's import of discounted Russian crude. Yet the relationship remains heavily tilted in Moscow's favor. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has acknowledged India's concerns while adding that Moscow wants to buy more from India and is even looking for joint efforts, and that is to correct the imbalance in trade. India is pushing for wider access to its marine products, pharmaceuticals, processed food, consumer goods, potatoes and even pomegranates, with both sides agreeing to work towards narrowing the deficit. Despite US President imposing tariffs on New Delhi for essentially importing Russian crude oil, Peskov has expressed optimism about longer-term ambitions with India. On energy front, Moscow says its supplies to India remain stable despite sanctions being imposed. The latter has reiterated that private companies make oil purchases decisions based on global market conditions. And this while New Delhi is expanding its footprint in Russia with consulates in Kazan and soon Yekaterinburg, alongside negotiations for a free trade agreement with the Eurasian Economic Union. During the bilateral summit between the two leaders, talks may also include an additional S-400 missile system and discussions on New Delhi's interest in Su-57 fifth-generation fighter jet, which the Kremlin spokesperson called the best plane in the world. Civil nuclear cooperation, which includes compact reactor technology, is also on the table. In fact, additionally, the two leaders are also likely to discuss issues relating to terrorism and the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. Also, just days ahead of Putin's arrival, Russian State Duma approved the reciprocal exchange of logistics support, or Pact, which is the RELOS, signed earlier this year. It essentially allows military aircraft, ships and personnel from both the countries, India and Russia, to use each other's facilities in exchange for exercises, training, humanitarian missions and even disaster relief operations. Vladimir Putin lauded Russia's rapidly growing trade with India, saying that he would even continue pursuing a sovereign economic policy.
We will continue to pursue a sovereign economic policy and act externally based on our own national interests, the needs of domestic businesses and our citizens. We will fulfill our obligations to foreign partners and expand cooperation with those countries that are interested in it. As I have already said, the vast majority of countries act rationally and pragmatically. Over the past 3 years, we have significantly increased.
Let's go across to WION's Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sibal, who's joining us on the broadcast. Siddhant, this is going to be a very high-stakes bilateral that will take place between Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Talk to us about how is India looking to leverage the bilateral between the two leaders?
Well, indeed, a significant visit, the visit that starts from tomorrow of the Russian president, his first visit to India since 2021, and it is a state visit, so expect all the important elements that are associated with a state visit to happen. Now, during this visit, there will be key announcement on the Mobility Pact. Also, the Russian side keen to offer technology when it comes to defense, when it comes to small modular nuclear reactors, and also focus on trade relationship. Now, trade has substantially increased between the two countries to over $65 billion. Both sides aim to increase the trade relation to almost $100 billion in few years' time. But the increasing trade deficit worries New Delhi, and for that, the focus is on more Indian exports to Russia, including agriculture products. But the visit comes at a significant moment. For India, it is a time to show its strategic autonomy at an increasingly polarized world. We know that Donald Trump's tariffs have completely impacted the global trading order, and of course, the relationship with the US and India. After 20 years, it has seen a dip because of Donald Trump's tariffs. And for India, a handshake here in Delhi shows that it has friends and it is reaching out to major Asian economies like China and India at time of increased sanctions from the Western countries, particularly from the European Union.
All right, Siddhant, thank you for the moment. We will keep coming back to you for more updates and developments.